when I am oneness or just part of this oneness, when I'm in this loving essence state,
Hmm.
then you don't even think of not claiming responsibility for what you're creating, for what you are doing, for how you are being, because you are that.
It's a much better quest to feel the resistance, acknowledge that it's there, and then question it rather than try to prove it wrong, deny it, force it away, get angry at it. Ask it. It'll take you to where you're blocked somewhere, to those boundaries or those blockages. It'll point you there.
With that, giving up the responsibility for the self, obviously you're abandoning yourself in the sense of
Hmm.
you giving some other being the
Yeah.
power over your life for that moment.
Hmm.
And it's not necessarily like, yes, now they have your life in their hands. It's not maybe as dramatic as that, but when somebody else says something and you make it mean something, that's on you. That's a self-abandonment.
Yeah. Take the responsibility for our own life experience without blame. Our healing doesn't happen because we go tell them how wrong they were and we just keep going at it until we get understanding or them to say, yeah, you know what, you're right. That's not healing.
No, no.
That's just control and manipulation. And if you hound somebody long enough, they might say the words, but it's not true. It doesn't have any meaning. And you're not healed.
Yep.
You're only healed when you're at peace with it within yourself and you're not attached to
Yeah.
anything to do with that person.
How would your life change
Mm-hmm.
from your perspective of your accountability to life, for your accountability to yourself? Hello, beautiful souls, curious minds. Welcome back to another Awaken Aware podcast session with Tammy. Today, we're going to touch on responsibility and accountability and the importance of that, where we often end up giving up this gift where we don't claim responsibility for our life. We oftentimes end up blaming our parents, our friends, our bosses, or people around us for something that's happening in our life. I know a lot of us have had difficult childhoods, some more so horrific, even some tragic, etc. These are all things that we can get through. And self-responsibility and accountability for your life's events is going to be one of the important ways to allow yourself to be free of these constraints. And I say gift because it is a gift to be able to claim responsibility for where I am, what I'm doing, who I'm meeting with, what I'm learning, what I'm experiencing. When that doesn't happen, I'm really giving up my authenticity. Life is a mirror and it reflects to us what is within. So, what you're seeing that's happening outside of you, the situation that you end up in, the people that show up in your life, those are reflections of what's within you. When I started to actually do work on myself and stop judging other people for messing up my life, this is where the light bulb went off, and this is where most changes started to happen in my life. And that is a gift. To me, that's the best gift I could have given to myself. And that's how you love the self. That's how you accept yourself. And for those of you who have just discovered us, we go through a lot of the wisdom of Peter Crone. If you haven't heard of him, definitely look him up. He is an incredible, incredible human being and a master in what he does. He calls himself a mind architect, and he truly does do that, re-architects the constraints in the minds. And Tammy and I both study his work and love it and feel super inspired to bring some of this wisdom to you through our understanding and our obviously personal way of seeing this wisdom. But without any further ado, let's get Tammy another warm welcome and let's dive deep in. Today, Tammy and I are going to launch into responsibility and how we love to avoid it and our ego likes to avoid it, let's just say. But being responsible, what does that really mean? It's like being able to respond to anything that really life throws at us. And responsibility really is everywhere in everything. We can choose to act out of habits or with awareness. If we
Mm-hmm.
act out of habit, we often not claim responsibility for what's transpiring. If we act out of awareness, we're likely taking some responsibility for what's happening in our life. So, what really is responsibility and how we look at responsibility in our life? Tammy, I'll pose a question for you right away. So, it's like, what was the time that you remember yourself beginning to take responsibility for your life, for the way that things happened in life, things that you probably didn't like?
Mm.
What was the first thing that you remember about that you started to take responsibility when something clicked and you realized, oh my gosh, this is my story? Was there a
Mm.
moment like that?
Yeah, I mean, probably many. I don't know the first one, but do recall it. I do recall being young and maybe not really being aware of what was happening, but it was like there was a time of looking out and I was feeling low myself, whether it be
Mhm,
scared or just in a lower state,
mhm,
and looking around and thinking, well, everybody else is okay.
mhm,
And then thinking about maybe a particular thing that happened and being upset about it, whether it was a conflict with someone or something, and being upset. And then immediately going to, well, other people are okay. Like other people in relationships, they can let it go. That started to show up more in like in intimate relationships. Something
mhm,
would bother me, but my perception outward is that other people aren't bothered by that.
mhm,
And so I think that was the piece that my perception of other people seemingly having this ability prompted something that, well, maybe it's you. Maybe there's something that needs to change in your thinking, saying to myself, you. And then it that began the, okay, well, I'm responsible for how I feel. And if that responsibility is mine, then the more that I take my own self responsibility, the less I'm holding other people responsible. And
mhm,
that started to change relationships.
mhm,
And then of course, then that leads into more like, well, if if I'm making somebody else responsible for how I feel, that burden is going to be what weights the relationship and brings it down.
mhm,
That itself is pressure on the relationship.
mhm,
And so the relationship can't grow.
mhm. And you said you were fairly young when you were realizing this. Do you recall about
Yeah.
20s, 30s, 40s,
No, younger.
15s?
Yeah, I like early teens, like being
Damn.
in school.
Uh-huh.
Like I was always, yeah, like because I was always looking out. I
Uh-huh.
was in pain
Yeah.
internally, and not even maybe just let's say discomfort,
Yeah.
dis-ease. There was
Yeah.
dis-ease. I was wanting to stop that discomfort that I was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so before I knew that it was in me, then I'm looking out there. So I'm looking at other people. Well, how does everybody else do it? Everybody else is
Mm-hmm.
doing life, seemingly, right?
Seemingly. Seemingly is
So
the operative word in here.
it exactly, exactly. And so that's why it's like I think, in my opinion, when we talk about responsibility, and in relationships, it it has roots and it spreads out into everything because it's going to have to do with everything. It's going to point you to where you're looking outside of yourself. For me, it was where am I looking externally and trying to figure out my internal environment by looking at the external environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so each realization leads into the next part of growth, learning, expansion, because in the realization that it's not out there
Yeah.
and nobody out there has it. So yeah, it was in school and looking around at other kids, how do they deal with their families, how does everybody else interact, how are they, if watching somebody else go through something and watching how they act, or if they talk to people, if they don't talk to people, how are they behaving, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
So
it
you
was
had a
fascinating.
natural way to want to observe life, obviously, which I
Yeah.
think most of us do, but a lot of us who get kind of tied up with feeling too much fear, then the observing effect goes away because the awareness is lost.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I feel that for myself, the responsibility factor. I mean, I knew about that for many, many years. I mean, since my early 20s, I had awakening about life, about
Mhm.
energy, and just like
Yeah.
realizing that I'm part in a bigger schema, and I'm
Mhm.
part of that. I'm not like separated from that, which is what I
Mhm.
thought up until then, you know. But
Mhm.
then from there on, even though I knew about that, I didn't really get it
Mhm.
for a long time, relatively long time, a couple decades, let's say.
Yeah.
Once I realized
Mhm.
my story, my life story from the beginning to the end, to today,
Yeah.
my current end anyway, so was created from my perspective. So the
Mhm.
perspective of the circumstances that were happening, of the people I was meeting, of the
Mhm.
energies that I was perceiving,
Mhm.
that was all my point of view. And I didn't get that until, like I said, a few decades later. And once I got that, I was like, oh, I have created this whole thing
Mhm.
because of how I was looking at life around me, at life of other people, at the circumstances that were happening.
Yeah.
And for a long time, there was a living from perspective of victim, which we've already talked to before.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started to understand that pattern, that I am creating this reality myself because of the perception of what's happening that I have, the
Yeah.
filters that I assign, I need to now claim responsibility because I know about it. It's like, okay, now I have to claim responsibility for my reality, right? And so to me, this was very, very important. And it was then I started to practice it in like every time something would disturb me, I would ask myself, okay, so where am I judging other people at this point, and where am I giving away again my power, my own power? Where am I changing my perspective to look from perspective of something else somewhere else
Mhm.
versus taking responsibility? Okay, I am looking at this person this way. They
Yeah.
do what they do, and I
Mhm.
am looking at them this way. That's on me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Mhm.
So, like, when I started to notice that, more and more opportunities starts to show up.
Seek and you shall find.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm. Yeah. No, it's so true, and that's what I mean by it has roots and legs, like it sprouts out because like you said, the thought of a realization comes, but then it fills in with like life experience fills in the knowledge. It's like our realizations and perceptions are like those like paint by number. So the whole thing is like outlined and then the number and then you paint within the number, but the whole outline is there of the picture that you're going to paint.
Hmm.
So our realizations create those and then we fill it in with life experience. And then we learn like, oh, okay, well, am I judging other people when I feel different in my perception of like, oh, well, it seems that I'm the only one that has a problem with this, or somebody else seems to be able to just cope or deal with this. And for me, it seems like a big anything that seems different that feels like separation. I'll say that. Like that's probably my biggest pointer. If when I get a hit or a feeling of that I feel separate from the oneness that I know that I am, I go look. Because and when I go look, then I'll find the perceived thought that I had
Hmm.
that created it. And
Hmm.
then I can go heal that.
Hmm.
But it's like the realization comes first,
Hmm.
because we're supposed to do that. We're supposed to live life and go out there and like, you know, try things and lean into stuff and do stuff and have these experiences. And I mean, I think relationships, I mean, I don't know, are the biggest teachers. I think it's pretty fair to say or to, call them our biggest teachers because it's in everything. No,
It's a
no matter,
mirror.
work, everything, as we say that often, right? It's
Yeah.
any kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Relationships are a mirror to our obviously lives, and
Yeah. Hmm.
in order to claim responsibility for the life that we are living, I
Mm.
would say we might want to first ask question, who is it that claims responsibility? Which part of me? And then which part of me does not want to claim responsibility?
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
that subtle
Yeah.
difference is lies a key really to
Hmm.
understanding yourself and the nature of life. That is
Sure.
love, that
Hmm.
is oneness, like you said. And when you said, when I am oneness, or just part of this oneness, when I'm in this loving essence state,
Hmm. Yeah.
then you don't even think of not claiming responsibility for what you're creating, for what you are
Right.
doing, for how you are being, because you are that.
Yes.
That is what you are, who you are,
Yeah.
right? Anything that I want to speak a little bit to the words I am and how powerful they are, because anything that I'm sure people have heard this before, anything we put after I am
Hmm.
is not necessarily a description, but it's like a charm. Like it's
Hmm.
something that creates a reality. When you
Yes.
state I am and then followed by something,
Hmm.
yeah, you could describe that this is your state of being at this moment. But if you are saying that I am stupid, that was stupid of me, I'm such an idiot. That those are like charms that's going to maintain that energy.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
becomes over time, if you keep repeating it, like practicing anything, it becomes a belief. Once
Yes.
that belief sets in, now we're a little in a bit of a trouble because that starts to go into subconscious, that starts to drive our life without us consciously knowing that.
Hmm. Right.
And
Yeah.
so, from this perspective, I feel like it's incredibly important to understand the power of the words I am and how to use them. Now, I don't want to say that, yeah, I mean, let's say that I feel not so good. Let's say I'm
Hmm.
in pain. Then can say I am in pain. Or
Hmm.
you can say I feel pain. When you say I feel versus I am, you're
Hmm.
referring to the human body's experience at that moment,
Right.
which is
Hmm.
accurate.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
If you say I am poor, I am in need of money, I am loveless, or I don't have love, or I
Hmm.
am useless, or whatever it is, those are
Hmm.
commands. You're commanding the universe to send this energy into
Hmm.
your life. And if that's really what you want, continue. If it
Yeah.
isn't, you might want to change that kind of thing.
Yeah. You're making a declaration and an agreement.
Thank you. Declaration is a good word.
Yeah. Like life is all,
Yes.
we make agreements all day long.
Hmm.
Impeccability with the word. I mean, the four agreements, like, I don't know how many times I've read it. I think I'm on my third one. There's some books that I read, so they get tattered and I have to buy new ones. That's one of them. But it's like that impeccability with the word, because words matter.
Yeah.
Words become
The
reality, and
sound.
a thought that's kept thinking becomes a belief. And yeah, it's like whatever you say will be.
Yeah.
And this is why, I mean, we get stuck in old patterns, but I don't even like to say stuck, because we're not stuck. We're still in motion,
Yeah. We're
but
looping.
we're living it, right? We're
Yeah.
keeping it alive.
Yeah.
So we're not stuck there, but we're keeping something alive. We're
Yeah.
keeping something real.
Hmm.
And we're keeping something turned on, and the volume gets louder and louder and louder,
Hmm.
and harder to look away from.
Hmm.
And very often in relationships, which I think is one of the places where we realize that we're doing it, because a conflict comes. Because if we are putting responsibility onto someone else and creating the illusion that they have the key, the way, and are the source of how we feel, it's like we create that illusion, and then we hold them responsible to keep our illusion alive, which it can't work. And there's people that are very much in love, very much aligned. I have worked with couples
Yeah.
and people separately that are very much aligned, that have beautiful homes and beautiful children. They're aligned in how they raise their children. They work well together. Everything functions. It's great. But they have these, those conflicts that they'll kill anything. Those
Hmm.
are weeds that
Hmm.
grow, and then they affect everything else. It's like
Hmm.
poison to it.
Hmm.
But when two people are each doing their own and taking full responsibility for themselves, now you have two people who are safe in their own ability to be vulnerable, to be it's like two people like that have foundations that are solid come together and make a bigger foundation. It's like combining two houses that are really strong structures,
Hmm.
and then they can just expand and you can build on and it can
Yep.
keep going. But if one person has to hold it, it can't work.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, like, that isn't to all the girls out there, that isn't what Prince Charming is. And to all the guys, that isn't what, the princess is. Like, that isn't what it is. The person who's gonna, make sure that you feel okay.
Hmm.
And it has nothing to do with how much they love you.
Yeah,
That's not the
absolutely.
issue here, is not how much somebody loves another.
Yeah,
And
I want to thank you. This is beautiful because I want to that takes me to the next part that I would like to touch on a little bit that
mhm,
has a connection to the responsibility is the responsibility to the self, right? So
mhm,
who you are, who you're learning to be, who you're becoming. I have a responsibility to myself to live in realization that I am one with the source. That's my responsibility. My
mhm,
responsibility is to stay connected to the understanding, to the realization that I am one with source, to just repeat it again. Because a lot of times what happens again in this experience of human being is that we start to identify the circumstances that we live in, the people that we're surrounded by. We start to identify ourselves
mhm,
as this avatar, as this being that has learned to judge, that has learned to protect the self, that has learned to fear, that has learned to whatever it is, right?
right.
And in
Mhm,
a sense, if I go back to again remembering I'm part of the source. If I'm in that space of connection to the source, I
mhm,
know who I am. I don't have to question whether I am this being. It becomes about I feel because in this human body I feel certain way. I am not that event, that circumstance, that feeling, that logical thought or whatever. Those are things that
mhm,
I have at the moment. I have
right.
thought, I have a feeling, right? But that's not who I am. I am abundance. I am love. I am truth. I am freedom. I
Mhm,
am all these qualities. And
yeah.
when I put myself back in that space of I am that, I
Yeah.
am those things, I am
Mhm,
freedom. If I am
yeah.
freedom or I am peace, I don't need to strive to have peace if I exude it. If I'm
Exactly.
already peace, I don't need to try to get it, right?
Yep.
If I'm already
Mhm,
truth, I don't need to try to get
yeah.
truth. If I'm
Yep.
already abundance, I don't
Mhm,
need to try to get abundant, right?
yes. Right.
So that little subtle difference there with can I
Mhm,
put myself in that state of being where I realize that I am already all those things.
yeah.
Now this comes to test, right?
Yep.
You just ask for it and it comes, right?
Mhm,
Comes to test. You walk outside, you get in a car or
mhm,
whatever, you walk outside, you meet your neighbors or you meet a new person or you have a new client come to you or you have a new student or whatever, right? You
mhm,
meet your maybe new boss comes to your work and they like throw your world upside down, right? So what do you do there?
mm,
How do you go, oh, I'm abundance. Of course
yeah.
I attracted anything,
Mhm, right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But there's several ways to look at that. And then again, I'm just trying to point out the not so obvious but simple point that we are the essence that we think that we're looking for.
Yes. Right. I use an image for this, about meaning staying grounded and balanced. So I think this, it always makes me think of a tightrope walker.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so doing like tricks, meaning like, okay, they're up there and then somebody's going to throw like a ball to them and then maybe they're going to juggle it or something. If they're balanced and they have their balance, the ball gets thrown to them and they catch it.
Hmm.
If they're not balanced or they don't know that the ball is coming, they're less likely to stay balanced. And so it's that staying balanced. And even if it tips us a little, the comeback is the redirect and the pivot,
Hmm.
like the rebalancing
Hmm.
is easier.
Hmm.
And so it's not about like being perfect and never getting off balance. It's about rebalancing, which in in my experience, that's what it's about. Like we don't want it to stop because how will we practice balance unless things are coming that make us feel unbalanced? We need it. We need it's contrast, duality, whatever we want to say,
Hmm.
but especially with balance. And everything's always in flux and changing also. So, meaning we're growing, different things are happening. You know, when we're younger, we're in relationships in high school and whatever. And then we go to college and then we're out in relationships change, responsibilities change, life changes. So, the things that we are balancing in life change.
Hmm.
And so it's ever evolving.
Hmm.
And yeah, I love it. I love the
Hmm.
point that you're making. And it's that ultimate, deep, true, real knowing of the I am. Like that's the ticket.
It is
Because
totally the
then,
ticket.
because then from there, from the knowing and the I am peace, I am love. From that knowing, the self responsibility to sustain, to maintain, to be, to carry on the being of oneness, awareness, pure consciousness.
Hmm.
That's self responsibility. And
Hmm.
so when you're steady there, then you can invite life in. It's like if I'm going to entertain, I'm going to have a dinner party. I'm going to cook the food and have that prepared. And then I'm going to invite people in to eat that meal. But if I invite everybody for a meal and then expect and put the responsibility of the food on people without them knowing it, because I don't really feel like cooking, or maybe I don't even know how to cook, but I just wanted to have a dinner party and I think I'm just going to put the responsibility on other people. And then when they don't show up, I blame them because my dinner party didn't come off right. So be prepared for what you're inviting in. And that preparation is self responsibility because nobody else has to do anything to take care of our feelings, how we feel, how we react. Even if something happens and it's offensive or something, then we have the choice to remove ourselves or do whatever we need to do. We're never trapped by it, hopefully. Hopefully you're not taken hostage and trapped somewhere. But, in most cases, we can make different choices in relationships and say, you know what, thanks, but this isn't for me, you know? But that's all self responsibility that leads us to be able to do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautifully said. Again, I love what you're saying there too. That brings me into the next point that I wanted to bring up, as well as some real life scenarios which you've already started to point out again for people.
Mm,
When we talk about responsibility, we can also touch on the self-abandonment that happens as a result
mm,
of not being responsible. So when I become irresponsible with my life somehow,
mm-hmm.
or which can be just as simple as people pleasing. I
Yeah.
know nobody's done that before. Um, but yeah, if you find yourself
Mm-hmm.
again, I mean, I have been people pleaser my most of my life,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and just to again have some safety around me. But that was a coping
Yeah.
mechanism. As soon as I
Mm-hmm.
realized, understood, started to change that. And with that, giving up the responsibility for the self, obviously you're abandoning yourself in the sense of
Mm-hmm.
you giving some other being the
Yeah.
power over your life for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily like, yes, now they have your life in their hands. That's not maybe as dramatic as that, but the
Mm.
point being is that
Yeah.
when they say something, somebody else says something, and you make it mean something, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a self-abandonment. If somebody says something, that's their damn opinion. That's
That's
it.
right. Yeah.
That's just their opinion.
Yeah.
And if I'm not speaking up for myself to say, hey, you know what? Well, that's interesting opinion, but if you don't mind, I disagree. I
Mhm.
can say whichever politely as much as you want, or just say it
Yeah.
bluntly or whatever. And claiming back again your responsibility because this is your life. You came here into this body to experience life.
Yeah.
And as a source, the source
Mhm.
energy as the essence of life that love
Mhm.
is. From that perspective, from abundance all the time, from love all the time, from truth, from freedom,
Mhm.
you are experiencing life as it is. As a
Yep.
human being,
Yeah.
we are experiencing difficult things. Yes, we are experiencing beautiful things. Yes, we're
Mhm.
experiencing all sorts of plethora of things.
Yeah.
And the responsibility is always on us because
Yes.
we're the experiencer.
Right. Yeah. It's true. How we feel is our doing, our responsibility, no matter what. And it's nobody can make you feel anything.
Hmm.
That's true. People can say and do things that hurt our feelings or that we don't like. Of course, they can say offensive things. Things can
Hmm.
happen. But having hurt feelings or being like, "Ooh, like, man, something that comes and it's abrupt and it's a situation where you need to detach and you just no longer to hold space with that person." Yeah, that happens. But it's what happens after. It's like, take care of it, move out of the way, don't be a target for it. If you know somebody's standing there with an arrow to shoot and try to hit the bullseye that's you, move out of the way.
Hmm.
Don't be there. Don't be present for it. And
Yeah,
yes, that's harder if you're in a marriage, if you're in a job, if you're in something. I'm not proclaiming that any of this is easy,
yeah.
but this is the fact of it. And any conditions that are believed to be true that are left unhealed within the self for all of us, that's going to seek that from partners, jobs, whatever, but mostly from partners. So
Hmm.
anything that we haven't, healed and that's left out there and isn't changed, if we either know and don't do it or we just don't know and we're
Hmm.
putting the responsibility on someone, again, it's, I mean, to the point of the illusion, but we're going to look for them to do it. If we don't know we can do something, we're going to go look for
Yeah,
somebody else to do it. If I didn't know that I could go to the store and cook my own food,
yeah,
I mean, I have to eat. I would have to find somebody who knew how to cook
yeah,
because I need food,
yeah.
right? Well, we need love too. Like we want to, it's the drive is still there. But when we realize that we can do it and how we feel it's completely up to us. It's like if we look at it, how we feel after. So
Hmm.
people say, "Oh, but this happened." And what do you mean? Like, that's
Hmm.
not my fault that I feel bad. They said dot 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 dot. They said it. Yes, and it's wrong. Okay, take care of it. But if you how you feel after, if you keep it rolling,
Hmm.
now you're creating another belief, and now you're just making more of a mess that you're gonna clean up down the road further on because that's going to start to create a story because you're going to start believing whatever they said that was offensive. If you think that they're making you feel a certain way about it, then that's something that we're going to start to believe. It'll be a story that we create and it's going to become real for us because
Hmm.
it's a story we keep telling.
Yeah, if we're not in awareness state, we are going to make our life unwisely more difficult.
Mm,
And we are making it difficult
mhm,
only because we're not aware. Because if we're aware
yeah.
again, there is
Mhm,
that awareness, I have control over this. And if I don't have
mhm,
control over it, then why do I stress? I
yeah.
don't have control over it, right?
Right.
As
Yeah.
Peter Kroll likes to say, life is uncertainty. It's like
Mhm.
life is uncertain, period. It's just like we can either just go with it or we can resist it. And if you keep resisting the uncertainty of life and you try to, just prevent something bad from happening most of your life,
Yeah.
you're creating that. You are
Yeah.
taking responsibility at that point. You're creating this reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially with like you said, with partnerships and, marriages and friendships, etc. There's in a
Mhm.
relationship you get most mirror from the other
Mhm.
person,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
the one of the most humbling things in life, right? As
Yep.
you experience as a human being
Mhm.
relationship with another person, So I used to live in a space where I would, let's say I'd come home and I didn't feel, super tired. I didn't feel edgy. I didn't feel super joyous either. Kind of felt a little neutral. And I'd come home and come to some craziness going on between my sweet Miss Rose ex and the kids and I started to blame the situation. I started to blame them for behaving a certain way
Yeah.
because they were disturbing my peace.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so that is typically something that I think anybody can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And in that sense, though, was I wrong to say that? No, sure. But it is just, again, this is the ego part of myself that is fearing something
Mm-hmm.
responding to that situation. Had I
Mm-hmm.
just gone to the space before I opened the door, no matter what's happening behind this door, I'm going to hear out. I'm going to understand this is whatever's happening right there, right now is not about me. Has to do
Mm-hmm.
with me, yes, because I'm the parent here and or spouse here. So it has to do with me, but it is not about me because whatever
Mm-hmm.
is behind the door right now, it's about those people who are there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can
Yeah.
take responsibility for their life at that moment. So if something is thrown at me, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
can you take care of the kids? They're going crazy. I don't know what's going on. Well, okay. I can,
Yeah.
put on different vest and start,
Mm-hmm.
fighting the fires, right?
Yeah.
Or I can ask simply, okay, what seems to be going on?
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
And
Right.
that's staying in your center, right? So
Yeah.
something simple as that.
Yeah. Right.
Keeping your awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get yourself, as I used to, don't get yourself right into it and just taking responsibility for someone else's mess, really.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Because that happens all the time everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Even,
Yeah.
you can have best of intentions. Like my mom
Mm-hmm.
loves to jump in and help somebody.
Mm.
I learned the same thing.
Yeah.
If you see someone struggling, you jump in and help
Mm-hmm.
them. You
Yeah.
don't ask
Yeah.
them,
Right.
you jump in and help them.
Yep. Yeah.
And it happened to me because of my, again, sweet ex, Miss Rose. She would
Yeah.
say, I didn't ask you for help.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I got upset about that, because it's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
Yeah.
trying to help you, right?
Yeah. Right.
But she didn't ask me. So that was my disrespect to her abilities to deal with the situation. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't see that, but she
Yeah.
was trying to point it out and I wasn't aware. So simple
Yeah.
things like that. Just
Right.
noticing this within your life, what's happening, whether it's at work, whether it's at the family gathering, especially at family gatherings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then with your spouses, with your friends. So,
Yeah. Well, because also like all relationships are different. Like when we're in a marriage and or even in a relationship where we're living in the same home and something's happening, within the home, everybody deserves their peace. And if something disruptive is happening within the home or the workplace, but mostly the home because that's
mhm,
more attached to the heart, there is an area of like, okay, listen, I understand y'all have your what's happening right here. I'm going to detach. However, we're all under the same roof. Nobody's responsible for maintaining someone else's peace. But if someone else's peace is being disrupted beyond their control, yes, you could leave. You could go out for a drive. You could do something so
mhm,
that, it gets a little tricky. But
mhm,
that's an opening for a conversation with people. Like, okay, hey, look, not telling you how to, especially, and I've done that too with the blending, the step parenting, and that brings in a whole nother, that's like the ultimate training ground, I think, because it's different. It's different,
mhm,
but taking full self responsibility and having full respect of self as part of that responsibility, being that example and then bringing that in and requiring that. Like, okay, look, there's going to be conflicts, but we can have conflict and we can still have respect.
mhm,
But we can't ask for that. Like, we can't ask for anything that we don't already have.
mhm,
And so, but when we have self respect, very often that's going to change the dynamic anyway. Just entering into the room, like, okay, mom and kids are having turmoil. Okay. Dad walks in and whichever way it is. It could be mom walking in, it doesn't matter. Like you said, you coming in with peace, already you're an example. Just your energy walking into the room where it's been turmoil.
Hmm.
And so I think the more self responsibility you have, the safer within your own being we feel. When we feel safe in our own being, then we can have these conversations
Hmm.
and we can say, hey, you know, I understand the dynamics here. I get it. Not making demands,
Hmm.
not saying anybody's doing anything wrong. But can we have a conversation about respect and just about the space and what we want it to feel like?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's never going to happen. It's probably going to happen again. I mean,
Yeah.
it would be odd if it didn't. Kids are
Yeah.
supposed to act up like it's
Yeah. We
shit's
learn.
supposed to hit the fan sometimes,
Hmm.
and then we got to just clean up the mess.
Hmm.
But I think that what we're talking about, this self-awareness, self-responsibility, it builds our voice into the ability to have these conversations. And when we can have a conversation from that piece, we don't come off as demanding, this is the way I say it has to be in the house and you better act this way and you're wrong because you, all that goes away because there's respect in that responsibility. It'll come out of you. The piece that you are will come
Yeah.
out for anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's sometimes beautiful. Thank you for those analogies and those examples as well, because
Mhm.
I feel like some when we are in it,
Mhm.
back to that example I used, walking in the house, craziness is
Mhm.
happening, everybody's yelling at each other, something happened,
Mhm.
people are losing it basically. So yeah, I mean, can I propose we each take 10 minutes and just
Yeah.
just go to a room, go outside, go for a drive, whatever it takes, and
Yeah.
then we'll all meet back in 10 minutes
Mhm.
or 15 minutes, whatever it is, right?
Right.
And something reasonable, of course, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really, I don't forget about that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then meet back in and take 5 breaths before we start talking,
Yep.
to do
Mhm.
that several times,
Right.
and then start talking. Can we actually like come to some sort of conclusion here?
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to just like get into the heat of the moment and explode and then just like keep whirling and keep messing things up, and it's
Right.
just gonna bring more trauma, it's just gonna bring more difficulty into life.
Sure.
Now again, like easier said than done. Yes, it happens to all of us and
Mhm.
we all live through it. And it is always going to be an opportunity to learn something about yourself,
Mhm.
about the other. And again, remembering who you
Mhm.
truly are. When you say, I am, who are you? You are
Mhm.
the essence, the source. That's the you that
Mhm.
you are. Who you think you are for yourself, that is something else.
Mhm.
There's someone else. There's the personality that
Mhm.
has created this personal reality called, I don't know, dad, the boss, the good friend, or the, I don't know, whatever. Okay. So
Mhm.
whatever you're associating yourself with, that's the personality. That part is what's getting threatened at the point
Yes.
of difficulty, because it's not the part of you that is the love, the abundance, the
Right.
freedom, it's not that part. That part does not get threatened. It just
Yeah.
is all the time. Now
Right.
your ability to tune to those,
Yeah.
that essence of you, that is a whole nother thing. So if you
Mhm.
are able to tune yourself back to that source energy,
Yeah.
like you're saying, sourcing
Yeah.
it from yourself,
Yeah.
then everything shifts, your perspective shifts.
Right.
You start saying things like, you know what, I know you did this, you did that.
Mhm.
It doesn't even matter. You've probably
No.
learned something at this point from this, and so let's
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Right.
again, not to dismiss feelings
Mhm.
and emotions. They need to be felt and expressed. That's
Yes.
one of the most important things in this lifetime, in this human
Mhm.
body.
Yeah. For sure.
So,
Yeah. No. Beautifully said. And to your point of like, so that pause, that coming in and saying, okay, hey, let's all take 5.
mhm,
A high percentage of the time in that pause,
mhm.
whatever was happening, it's going to go away because as soon as the pause happens, it stops it. It only has life because people are in their own illusions and stuff and their upsets and everybody's off balance, so everybody's wobbly. Like if everybody's standing on a dock or something that's, floating, but it's not secured.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody's standing still, it stays still.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody's moving around, it's wobbly and people are going to fall in the water.
Mm-hmm.
But if everyone agrees, okay, we're going to stay still now, nobody falls in the water. It's the essence of everyone. And to your point, right, the you, it's why, I mean, when I speak here, when I write, I use the word you out to people because I am here, and it is my wish to remind everyone that they are the you that is pure consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
pure awareness. You are that. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's my, like, when I speak it out there and I say you, that's me declaring you are, you can, you that, like, it's there because it only needs to be remembered. And and it gets remembered through our life experience, but it gets remembered through people talking about it and saying it. Somebody's sitting here listening to this, maybe has never heard it before. And they're like, what are they talking about? You, I am. What does that even mean? It's like it's almost frustrating to someone who doesn't understand it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's very like unreal sounding.
Mm-hmm.
And especially to people who feel a lower sense of worthiness, because, well, who am I to say that?
Mm-hmm.
They go to the material things, like what they've accomplished or done or whatever, or teachers they worked with. Like, none of that matters. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
are this before you work with the teachers, before you go sit and set songs and go to India and sit there for 3 months and meditate for 10 hours a day. You are this before you go do that. If you want to go do that, great, but you don't have to go do that to receive the golden ticket and the stamp that says, okay, yep, now okay, you're good now, you can say it now. No, this is what we are created as, this.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that because you, like you said, you give yourself the permission to be that
Mhm.
truth, that love, that whatever it is. If
Mhm.
you don't give yourself that permission, if you think, feel, believe otherwise,
Yeah.
then you would not give yourself that permission.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. There was a line in the first Matrix where when Neo goes and meets the little boy, go to meet Oracle for the first time and sits down with the boy with the spoons.
Yes,
And the
I do
boy is
remember this
bending
part.
spoons left and right, and Neo's looking at him, huh, that's cool. And um, that the boy says,
Do
don't
not
try
try
to
and
bend the
bend the
spoon.
spoon.
That's
That's
impossible.
impossible.
Only
Only
try to
try to
realize the
realize
truth.
the truth.
And Neo says, what truth? And the boy says, there
There
is
is
no
no
spoon.
spoon.
And
Then
then
you
you
will
will
see that it
see
is
that
not
it's
the
not the
spoon that
spoon that's
bends, it
bending,
is
it is
only
only
yourself.
yourself. This movie is full of these deep lines. Like every line is a deep line. And so if you think about this one briefly, just to the
Mhm.
point that if I am taking responsibility for who I am, I created my life the way it is. I am the one in charge of my life. I
Mhm.
have choices over my life. If I know who I am, I have more choices. If I don't know who I am, my choices are limited
Mm.
about life. In that sense, then in order to bend yourself, as the boy says,
Mhm.
that's yourself that bends. To me, that's synonymous with changing, bending
Yep.
yourself, changing yourself, right?
Mhm.
So if you can change into whatever the shape it is that you're trying to express or experience with,
Mhm.
in this case, a spoon, right?
Yeah.
You start changing yourself, you're discarding boundaries that you've previously created.
Ah.
The change is not possible in us if the boundary exists. If I can discard the boundary, I am capable of change. It's straightforward,
Mhm.
really, but also, continuously
Mhm.
profound in a sense because I have a responsibility for my life and I am the one that's making the changes. And so
Mm-hmm.
if my mind opens, truly just like anything is possible at this point. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm Neo, I can stop the bullets, whatever, right? I
Yeah.
can fly
Right.
off, right?
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's no, I mean, in this movie, he learns all these things to stop bullets, to be resurrected
Mm-hmm.
because he realizes he is not this body.
Yeah.
He
Right.
has this body.
Mm-hmm.
He can experience through this body this life, but he's
Yeah.
not that. So he realizing that he's this eternal love, this
Yeah.
eternal source that
Mm-hmm.
is making everything around us,
Yeah.
allows him to then later on in the movie, of course, take off and fly off, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's just beautifully pointed out in that sense that we have that control and we can learn.
Mm-hmm.
There's a power of mind is incredible. I mean, these days, some people do things that are out of this world. I mean, just like I keep mentioning, but vibra vision, you don't need your eyes to see. They've
Yeah.
proven it many times over.
Yeah. Right.
And there's many people at
Mm-hmm.
this point on Earth that don't need to see to be able to read.
Yeah.
They can have their eyes blindfolded and read. It's no
Yep.
big deal to them.
Yeah. I've
And
seen that.
telekinesis works, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
people can move objects with their mind. It's
Mm-hmm.
possible. We
Yeah.
think it's impossible only because it's our mind that is preventing that from happening. We cannot
Right.
change with closed mind. We cannot change. We
Right.
cannot bend,
Mm-hmm.
so to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. I think it's a great pointing. Like, if any concepts are frightening or they make you uncomfortable, that's the call to go look deeper. Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why does it make you feel uncomfortable? Why are you resistant? It's a much better quest to feel that, to feel the resistance, acknowledge that it's there, and then question it rather than try to prove it wrong, deny
Mm-hmm.
it, force it away, get
Mm-hmm.
angry at it. Like, ask it. It'll take you to where you're blocked somewhere, to those
Mm-hmm.
boundaries or those blockages.
Mm-hmm.
It'll point you there. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not about getting better at resisting or getting better at fighting resistance. No. It's like, no, the goal is not to get to become a better fighter or become, a better talker, a better manipulator, a better something to win a battle. That's not the point. It's about communing and coming together, and then the battles and everything stop because there won't
Mm-hmm.
be any need for them.
Mm-hmm.
If nobody's disagreeing, there's abundance everywhere. There is no need to fight over things.
Yeah.
Money is made out of paper.
And numbers at this point, anyway.
There's no shortage. Like,
Yeah.
there's enough. And
Yeah.
there's only not enough if certain people are taking too much and hoarding. That's the only reason that there's not enough. So we can live to become better at communicating, at taking self responsibility and building that platform to invite people onto,
Mm-hmm.
or, we can just keep fighting and resisting and, all that. Like, it's a choice and no judgment to either way.
Yeah.
But if the desire is peace, to be who you are, meaning peace, love, contentment, these things we talk about, if that's the goal,
Mm-hmm.
then look at where you're resisting something and it'll always show us. it'll
Mm-hmm.
it'll show
Yeah.
us where to look. Like, that's the sound that the car is making, that we take it to the mechanic and say it's making a sound and I think it's in the left front tire. Okay, so they're going to start looking there. It might not be where it is, but at least it's a starting point. Oh, I heard something here, or I felt something. Okay, then we go and look further. It's the inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
It's always self inquiry, but just from a place, if you're in that place of love, and do the self inquiry. Not when you're mad and resistant. Don't do an inquiry then, because then you're just gonna you're gonna find more of whatever state you're in when you do the inquiry. So that would be my advisement: is to, be centered before you go look.
100%. Yes. The self-inquiry, I love that because again, pointing to like what is causing your dis ease in some sense. Like where is your ease not there? what
Mm-hmm.
is causing it in sense of like, can I feel into my body? Like you were saying, if you're hearing a weird noise in your car,
Yeah.
go describe where is it, and mechanic goes in and they look and they find it and they point out to the root of the cause. Sometimes they tell you that there's many other things going on, but that's
Mm-hmm.
on the side. Same way the doctor would tell you about your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
come in with, hey, you know what, my shoulder is not really feeling so good, and they may do, take a look into some blood work. They may do some exams or whatever. They may notice that there's actually something more, even more happening,
Mm-hmm.
that you thought there was.
Yeah.
And then other times you'll be like, yeah, it's not much going on. Really, it's just you just pulled this muscle. It's just let's give you
Mm-hmm.
some PT, do some stretching,
Right.
warm
Yeah.
up, strengthen it afterwards, and move on, right? But
Yeah.
um, so the diagnostics obviously is important, and especially because we are living this experience of a human being, right, in this human body. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to obviously take it lightly because it isn't. When you experience
Mm.
pain in this human body, it really hurts, and it
Yeah.
really takes all of your attention away. All
Mm-hmm.
of the attention goes to the pain. When you stub your toe,
Mm.
nothing else matters in that moment. When you stub it,
Yeah.
nothing else
That's,
matters. You
yeah.
are in that pain with that toe, swearing, whatever you're doing, right? Jumping around, and I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
again, to the point, yes, I'm not saying not experience life, experience life.
Yeah.
Noticing what's happening, like you say, self-inquiry, be with yourself, ask yourself, what does that feel like?
Yeah.
What am I
Mm-hmm.
feeling right now? Waking up,
Right.
maybe I'm feeling tired. It's okay. Well, maybe I haven't moved much yet, so of course I'm tired, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe
Mm-hmm.
I've spent, last week or month, working really hard, and of course now catching up with me, right? So I'm tired.
Right.
Can I go out and just do some movement and light stretching and get myself some nutrient food versus the crap I've been eating for months or weeks or whatever? And can I start clearing out my system?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not about
Yeah.
what to put in, but what to take out. So
Yeah.
clearing out is an important piece of taking responsibility for yourself, for your vehicle, for your body, right?
Yeah.
So we could go into nutrition now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like I would. That's beautifully said. What I was thinking, like, peace prevents panic, and the pain is a pointing. It's a pointer. And if we panic at the first sight or feeling of pain, we're going to completely bypass that it might have been nothing. And so if we panic, by the time we get to the doctor, we'll have like created something. I mean, we can create disease in our body. I mean, we know
Mhm.
this now. Like, we don't
Not
have
only
to, like,
can we do.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
so it's like you could start out with nothing and have a little twinge or a little weirdness and a weird feeling that might have been something you ate, but it might be on a Friday. And
Mhm.
then so all weekend before you can call the doctor to get an appointment, you're thinking, "Oh my god, it might be
Maybe that's
this, and it might be
cancer.
that, and oh my god, it's this, it's that. Oh no, it's worse. Oh god, it's moving now. It's in the back now, and oh my gosh, it's everywhere. Oh
Right.
no, I can't walk now.
Yeah.
And oh, now I have a headache." Okay, like,
It's called hypochondria.
you and like you can create. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not all that hard to walk
No.
yourself into a panic attack, like
100%. And
anxiety.
yeah, and like I said, we do create that.
Yeah, we do. And we create wellness. So
Mhm.
take your pick. Like, even if there's a diagnosis, that still doesn't mean that you got to write life off and like, oh, well, I'm done now.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh God, I do need knee surgery. So, oh, I'll never run again. I've always been a runner. Oh, now I have to give up my whole life.
Mhm.
Well, knee surgery does not mean that you'll never run again. It doesn't have to mean that. And I'm certainly not talking about denial. I'm not talking about don't go to doctors. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely not. But just to have this be your main informer. Like, the
Yeah.
basis of everything is this grounded sense of peace that we realize that we are.
Yeah.
Then move forward into it. Like, go in on that grounded sense. Like, don't go into it with panic.
Yeah.
You know, have your feelings. It's okay. Like, I'm not saying don't feel or don't have emotions or, oh, don't ever be scared. Of course, have your
Yeah.
feelings, but work with them, merge with them, and become friends with them. You know, I get laughed at. People laugh at me all the time, and sometimes because they think I'm nuts, and sometimes because they think it's cute or something. But I make
Definitely cute.
I make friends with everything.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just how I frame it. Like
Yeah.
any ailment that I've ever had, I make friends with it. I
Hmm.
go through my whole body. I'm like, okay, well, here we are. You're not who I would pick for this travel journey, but
Hmm.
here we are. Okay.
Hmm.
And we're stuck here together with one another. So let's just figure this out and let's figure out how
Interesting.
to do it with the best, whatever.
I wanted to briefly talk about the connection of our lives in our families
Hmm.
and how important it is to understand our responsibility in our family.
Hmm.
And I'm getting goosebumps. Oh my gosh. So, okay. Uh,
Me too.
when we are entering this lifetime and going into the families that we are part of,
Hmm.
can we take responsibility for what has transpired, for what is happening in our family? Is there something that you can touch on from your own experience?
Yes. So I was once of the view or perception that it's more painful if the villains in our lives are family members. But I now believe that within the family and the home, that's the safest place to learn how to cope, to transform, to learn who we are in the space of anything that would be like that. So anything that would be that kind of pain. The only reason pain, crisis, trials come is for us to transform them, to be love in the presence of them, and to
Mhm.
transform them within our lives and our life experience. And so we chose the family that the villains were in because that's the safe place to learn it. Being out in the world with strangers, that's a different kind of a violation, a different kind of intrusion. It's different. My view on it has completely changed.
Yeah. We tend to close ourselves from that experience if it's something
Yeah,
outside. But if it's
right.
something at home, we suppose that our caretakers, our parents, our teachers, who are the closest people to us that we should be trusting with, are those lessons. So
Mhm.
those we take as like those we should feel safe with. And so a lot
Mhm.
of times what happens if we feel betrayed by parent or parents somehow, this is
Mhm.
what creates a trauma within, and it's painful and it's difficult and it's horrible sometimes.
Yeah.
And how can I take responsibility in this? Again, to your point that you were just saying that what if as a soul before I was born into this lifetime, into this
Mhm.
situation, what if this is exactly who I wanted to choose?
Mhm.
I know it may be hard to hear for a lot of you guys, and for myself included. I mean, I've had
Mhm.
all sorts of shenanigans happening in my childhood as
Mhm.
well. But what if this was there for us? All
Yes.
these difficulties somehow to reveal something within us in this body, in this position that we're born into,
Mhm.
that we wouldn't have otherwise figured out. What if, just
Yeah.
when I pose that question for that, for
Yeah.
you guys there.
It's it's actually the safest place to have the experience because you can have the experience all the way through. It's safe not because it's not painful.
Hmm.
Safety and pain, let's keep them it's
Hmm.
it's safe because we can carry it through. Because it's family, teachers, people that are, whether it's family or like you said, teachers, what extended, but it's not that it's safe, meaning safe, I don't feel any pain here. It's safe because we live it all the way through. With a stranger, an attack or something that happens from some external person, a stranger, somebody we're not connected to, it's just going to be the incident. So now where it's a violation that's so intrusive and then just left. There's no working it out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
There's no living it out.
Other than for yourself, you can always do
Yeah.
it with the
Inter
experience and
right.
figuring it out for yourself, right?
Right.
But you cannot figure it out
Yeah.
for with the other person.
Right. You're gonna
Which is,
with when it's family, you're gonna have the full lived experience from
yeah.
all the way through, if
Yep.
you so choose.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have opportunities over and over and over
Yeah.
with your family again.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
lifelong.
Yeah.
It's lifelong, long term.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all for us.
I personally feel that concept rings true. Concept of, yes, as a soul, I came here, I chose a family, I chose the place where I would be born, when I would be born. I
Hmm.
personally feel that it's very true. Can I prove
Yeah.
it somehow? No. Take that aside, whether that's true or not. Consider that it might be.
Yeah.
How would your life change
Mm.
from your perspective of your accountability to life,
Hmm.
for your accountability to yourself?
Great question. Yeah.
It's like, what
Hmm.
would change if you
Yeah.
were there? So,
Yeah. Take the responsibility for our own life experience
hmm
without blame. Like, yes, people do
yeah,
things, yes,
yeah,
but they're going to live with their own responsibility of it. It's not for the victim,
yeah,
the one that took the hit from the person in pain. Our healing doesn't happen because we go tell them how wrong they were and we just keep going at it until we get understanding or them to say, yeah, you know what, you're right. That's not healing.
no, no,
That's just control and manipulation. And if you hound somebody long enough, they might say the words, but it's not true. It doesn't have any meaning.
yep,
And you're not healed.
yep,
You're only healed when you're at peace with it within yourself and you're not attached to
yeah,
anything to do with that person.
absolutely. At best, it may be called remission,
Hmm.
and at
Yeah.
worst, it may be called continuous of illness that you'd had.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're perpetuating that. Yeah. So again, the point there is that for as long as I'm behaving as a victim of life, I'm not taking responsibility for my life. Life is happening to me. And it's okay to be in that space, but
Hmm.
just like ask yourself, is this something that I want to keep doing?
Yeah.
Because you might not
And
want to.
right. And victimhood is to, as I referred to being a target earlier and moving out of the way, victimhood is standing there as the target and not
Yeah.
moving around and actually there's intention if you're choosing the victimhood, you're choosing to stand there and say, okay, here I am. Here I am.
Yeah.
It's a willingness.
Yeah.
And so yeah, to your point, no judgment, but you don't have to live that way. I would say to everyone.
100%.
There's
Yeah.
another way. There's
Yeah. No
another
one's
way,
above it.
and life is here for you no matter what has happened. It's
Yeah.
here for you if you so choose to take the steps to transform how you now feel about it. There's another way to look at everything. There
hmm
is always a way. There's a reason my clients call me the wayfinder. There's always a way to see something differently and spin it into something that betters your life, into you're higher, you raising higher in a higher vibration. There is always a way.
Yeah.
Always.
Beautiful. Thank you for your insights on that one. It's super important. And a lot of people, obviously, a lot of us are
Mhm.
thrown into, feel like we're thrown into these families and it's like, now
Yeah.
what? It's like, let me resist. Okay. Well, most of us do
Mhm.
that. How is it serving
Yeah.
me? Not
Right.
so well. So
Mhm.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. Really,
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
So I'd like to close this with the choice that we have otherwise if we don't take a responsibility in our life
Mhm.
is to experience more pain, experience more disease, experience more illness, anything, accidents, all that stuff.
Mhm.
So those are just things that are coming to us because that's where we vibrate. If we vibrate on a level of this is too good to be true, it's not going to happen to me.
Mhm.
Life is like, okay, we'll go
Yep.
with that. So whatever you speak out there in a sense is going to start manifesting. So like you were saying, if you have a lingering thought at the back of your mind, it's Friday night, and then you hurt yourself, and by the time you can go to the doctor, you already are like making up all sorts of stories about what could be going on. If that's where you're going to put yourself, ask yourself, like you were also encouraging us, why? Why am I asking myself that? Why am I
Mhm.
saying these difficult things about myself? Is
Yeah.
that really where I vibrate? Is that a resonance that I want in my life?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so for those of you out there, ask yourself these questions in a sense of who am I and who do I want to be? Who do I want
Mm-hmm.
to show up as in my life every day?
Yep.
Wake up in the morning, go to bed at night. Last question you ask, who do I
Mm-hmm.
want to be tomorrow?
Yeah.
First question you ask in the morning, how do I want to show up today? You know, and knowing, learning and knowing that you are love, that you are peace, that
Mm-hmm.
you are possibility all the time, that you are connected with the source.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just continuing to live into that potential is why we're here.
Yeah. Beautifully said. Yeah. Yeah. And I always run a quick little evaluation. Another one for people, I think I've mentioned this before, is like something comes and it's painful and it really hits. Is it true? Is it real? True means, is it love? Is it love based? If it isn't love based, it's not true. If it doesn't feel good, it's not true. That is not how the universe is coming to you.
Hmm.
And so, and sometimes that can be enough to sort of tip us back. For me,
Hmm.
sometimes that'll work if it's something that's sort of got
Hmm.
got a hold.
Hmm.
Just turns into a like maybe whatever. It doesn't. Oh my gosh, it's true
Yeah,
about me. That goes away.
I love those questions again. So, and then also maybe connected with your body somehow. So if you ask, is that true? Am I out of love? Am I in love space? You
Hmm.
touch your heart, touch your mind, touch
Yes.
whatever feels like you can connect with
Hmm.
this sense of source. Okay,
Yep.
feel into it in your physical body. Is it true? I mean, yes, I'm perceiving it as reality right now, but it's I'm perceiving it as reality because of the stories that I have created about it, right?
Yeah.
That
Hmm.
doesn't mean that's true. It just means
Right.
it's happening as you have created it. But
Right.
the truth, as you pointed out, is really going to be always around, is it created out of love?
Hmm. Yeah.
If it's not created out
Yeah.
of love, whatever it is, it's just not real. It's not
No,
true. We are
it's not.
making it
Yep.
real because if we're creating it from whatever space, but
Hmm.
it isn't true.
Right.
So
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you so much again for hanging out, Tammy. Really appreciate your
Thank
insights. And
you.
again,
Mm.
if you have enjoyed any of these talks that we have here, follow us, subscribe, and comment onto anything that has captivated you. And we will look forward to seeing you next time. And until then,
Mm.
take good care of you. And for those of you who are interested to dive a little bit deeper into self-discovery, I also teach a lot of these modalities as well as have a process to help you guide you through this self-discovery. So if any of this resonates with you, there's a link below in description. Feel free to contact me and I'd be happy to work with you. Or you can join us for group sessions, classes, if one-on-one work doesn't necessarily appeal.